Jay-Z didn't become a billionaire by selling albums. He did it by controlling who owned the music. And most rappers never realized what they signed until it was too late. And once you see how the game really worked, you'll understand why hip-hop was never built to protect artists. It was built to protect the smartest player in the room. And here's where that leverage turned into real money. Because owning masters wasn't just a flex, it was a cash machine. Every stream, every radio spin, every movie placement, every commercial license paid Jay-Z directly. Not a label, not a middleman, him. While many rappers earned one-time advances and tiny royalty checks, Jay collected recurring income year after year. This alone generated tens of millions annually, quietly stacking long before billionaire headlines ever appeared. The real finesse wasn't just owning his music, it was being positioned in deals where other artists didn't. As an executive and partner, Jay benefited from structures where artists generated revenue, but ownership and back-end profits flowed upward. Not through theft, through contracts most artists never fully understood. This is where the gap formed. Artists stayed paid. Jay stayed wealthy. Jay-Z is celebrated as hip-hop's ultimate success story, from the Marcy Projects to corporate boardrooms, from street hustler to cultural icon. But behind the champagne photos and billionaire headlines is a much colder truth. Jay didn't just play the industry, he redesigned it to work in his favor. And that design quietly transferred massive wealth away from artists who trusted him. And once the blueprint was in place, it never stopped printing money. To understand how Jay-Z positioned himself to win every time, you have to understand how early he learned leverage. Growing up in Brooklyn during the crack era wasn't just survival, it was education. Every move had consequences. Every relationship had value. And trust, if used correctly, could become currency. While other rappers dreamed of record deals, Jay was already thinking about ownership, who controls the asset when the spotlight fades. That mindset would later separate him from almost every artist around him. And it started earlier than most people realize. When Jay entered the music industry, the rules were simple, but brutal. Labels owned everything. Artists got advances, not equity. Most rappers were chasing fame, not realizing fame expires, but ownership doesn't. Jay watched this closely. Instead of rushing to sign, he studied how artists lost leverage the moment contracts were signed. And when he finally made his move, he didn't just enter as a rapper, he entered as someone preparing to become the house. That distinction changed everything. Rockefeller Records looked like a dream. Artists believed they were joining something different, a label built by rappers, for rappers. It felt closer, more personal, more loyal. But structurally, it operated like every other label, with one critical difference. Jay sat on both sides of the table, artist, executive, decision maker, and that dual role created a power imbalance most people didn't recognize until years later. Here's where the finesse begins, not in illegal moves, but in positioning. Artists often negotiated deals, thinking Jay was speaking as one of them. But contracts don't care about friendships. Paper only respects leverage. When you control distribution, branding, marketing, and approvals, you don't need to steal, you just need patience. Over time, revenue flows upward. Royalties recoup slowly, and ownership quietly shifts away from creators who don't realize what they've given up. By the time success arrives, the structure is already locked. One of the most misunderstood concepts in music is masters. Artists hear the word, but rarely understand the weight behind it. Masters aren't just recordings. They're licensing power. They're streaming income. They're commercials. Films, games, commercials again, forever. Jay understood early that albums fade, but catalogs compound. And while many rappers focused on chart positions, Jay focused on long-term control. Even when the public thought he was just rapping, that quiet shift would later become the foundation of his fortune. As Jay's career grew, so did his influence. But instead of tying his wealth solely to music sales, he expanded horizontally: partnerships, endorsements, executive roles. This is where most artists fall behind. While rappers negotiated fees, Jay negotiated equity. While artists chased visibility, Jay chased infrastructure. And infrastructure doesn't clap, it accumulates. Every move placed him closer to ownership and further away from dependency. When Jay eventually stepped into executive leadership roles, his advantage multiplied. He now had insight into how deals were structured, not just for himself, but for everyone. And here's the key detail people miss. Knowing how contracts work is more powerful than talent. Once you understand where money flows, you don't need to out-rap anyone. You just need to outlast them. That's how systems beat stars. Artists often believe success meant freedom, but success inside someone else's system usually means deeper dependence. Tour support, marketing budgets, distribution access, playlist placement, each benefit came with strings, and the more successful an artist became, the harder it was to walk away. Jay's position allowed him to benefit from this reality without ever needing to explain it. Then came the evolution. Roc Nation wasn't just a label, it was an ecosystem. Management, touring, brand deals, sports, media. On paper, it looked artist-friendly. This is where the money crossed into billionaire territory. Jay-Z didn't make $1 billion from rapping. He made it from owning pieces of the machine that rappers worked inside. Roc Nation wasn't just a label. It was management, touring, brand deals, sports representation, and distribution, meaning Jay earned money every time artists earned money. When artists toured, Roc Nation took percentages. When brands signed deals, Roc Nation negotiated cuts. When careers scaled, the company scaled with them. Add to that Jay's sale of Rocawear for over $200 million. The title deal that reportedly returned hundreds of millions and luxury brand partnerships that produced nearly $1 billion in combined value, and suddenly the picture becomes clear. The billion didn't come all at once. It came piece by piece, from deals, equity, ownership, and structures that favored the executive, not the artist. That's how finesse works at the highest level. Not fast money, slow extraction. In practice, it mirrored a modern corporation, one designed to extract value from every direction. The genius wasn't deception, it was complexity. The more complex the structure, the harder it is for artists to see where the money actually goes. This is where Jay separated himself from every rapper before him. He stopped relying on music income entirely. Instead, music became marketing. And this is why people say Jay-Z finessed rappers, not because he robbed anyone, but because he understood the game, while others trusted relationships. Artists signed deals thinking success meant freedom, but success inside Jay-controlled systems often meant more dependency. The bigger an artist became, the more money flowed through management, touring, and brand pipelines Jay had ownership in. So while artists fought for relevance, Jay collected percentages. While careers peaked and faded, his equity kept growing. That compounding advantage is what pushed his wealth past $1 billion, built directly on the backs of deals artists didn't fully control. Albums promoted brands, artists built networks, networks opened doors, and doors led to equity. Most rappers stayed trapped in revenue cycles. Jay exited into ownership cycles. That difference alone is worth hundreds of millions. Streaming accelerated everything. While artists argued about payouts per stream, Jay understood something deeper. Control over platforms matters more than payouts. Visibility equals leverage. Leverage equals power. And power decides who wins long term. Jay didn't need streaming to pay him well. He needed it to keep him positioned at the top of the ecosystem. That's how dominance survives format changes. What makes Jay-Z controversial isn't that he broke rules, it's that he mastered them. He played the industry exactly as it was designed, just better than anyone else. Artists trusted relationships. Jay trusted structures. Artists chased moments. Jay chased systems. And systems don't care about emotions. The uncomfortable truth is this: Jay-Z didn't finesse rappers because he was evil. He did it because the industry rewards whoever understands contracts, leverage, and time better than everyone else. Most artists never stood a chance, not because they weren't talented, but because they weren't positioned. And positioning beats talent every time. Today, Jay's wealth isn't tied to radio spins or chart debuts. It's tied to catalogs, equity, partnerships, and long-term ownership. While rappers argue online about respect, Jay's assets quietly generate income, whether he releases music or not. That's not rap success. That's structural dominance. So when people ask how Jay-Z became a billionaire, the answer isn't albums. It isn't fashion. It isn't champagne. It's this: he understood the game early. He built systems instead of chasing fame. And he made sure he was always the last one getting paid. And by the time anyone noticed, the money was already gone.